I'm HamsterBomb.
And I'm Timothy.
And you guys are back for another episode of Pokedex Paradox, the show where we dig through the Pokedex and find some really hilarious bad science, bad logic, impossible things, or just downright hilarious things that the Pokedex states is fact. It is true.
That is the most important part, is that the Pokedex in this universe is complete and utter fact.
Yeah, it's written by 10-year-olds. How dare you accuse them of not knowing their logic and science and saying that it's true or untrue. So today we have a Pokemon that I've wanted to talk about for a while, but I kept forgetting, honestly, to put him on our list because there's so many other really bad Pokedex entries that we had to do first. I feel like this one
doesn't give us as much statistical.
Oh, it does.
It does, but it's so illogical.
I know. It's completely busted. Today we're going to be talking about Alakazam, who we could probably just put bluntly that he is supposed to be the smartest Pokemon. Is that what they were going for?
I think so.
Because that psychic powers and intelligence to me already have nothing to do with each other. If anything,
I didn't even think about touching on the psychic powers part of it. I am just so fascinated by what is happening to him physically.
Oh, I know.
That
how he can't
I'm not as concerned with if he has magical psychic powers or not.
Well, I think that was their reasoning. Like, he's so smart, he can levitate things and bend spoons.
No, that's not how that works.
Well, that's what they were going for. Otherwise, they would have said, ironically, he's a complete idiot. And he's carrying a spoon just because it's his friend. And his friend's name is Samantha.
Well, it's his imaginary friend. If you read one of the Dex entries, his spoon is actually created from psychic power.
But also in another one, if he gives you his spoon and you eat something with it, that will be delicious.
Which makes sense. I mean, you're changing your psychology in some way to make it delicious to you individually, right?
No, it's complete.
That's what I'm just
No, it's total bogusness.
But we're not even going to touch on that.
Yeah, that's a later Pokedex entry. I may read that one later just for funsies. But first off, the problem here of the issues we're going to arise with Alakazam arises from his very first entry in Red and Blue. Kim, do you want to read this one for us?
Its brain can outperform a supercomputer. Its intelligence quotient is said to be over 5,000.
Outperform and intelligence quotient. Yes. You were stumbling over your words. Okay, so did you get to say the number?
Yeah, I said it.
Okay,
you were just so focused on...
you like... started tripping and falling down a mountain while trying to read that thing, so I was just trying to help you out. So, okay, its IQ, that's what intelligence quotient is. Its IQ is supposedly 5,000. So,
just starting off with that, we don't have a way to calculate an IQ over 200.
Well, we do, but the thing is, okay.
Okay, if the test results land over 200, he's considered to be an immeasurable genius.
Yeah, but the thing is, IQ tests, there's a bunch of different kinds, and they all have different scientists' names put behind them so that they can measure certain things. Most of those tests range from their max somewhere around 160 to 200. Mm-hmm. That's where most of them stop. Like, that's, okay. IQ tests study how quick your problem solving and inherent not like knowledge of, like, say, what's the capital of Brazil or solve this math problem. Right. It's more posing like which of these pictures comes next in the pattern kind of thing.
But it also calculates several other different variations of intelligence. I believe, like, emotional intelligence is part of it, and so is social intelligence is part of the IQ test. Like, you being able to recognize something happening in a situation.
Most of them stick with just problem-solving, awareness, and image-based like, which showing it that you're learning.
Technically social intelligence as well.
If
you're putting together this pattern happens and this happens, then that's going to happen.
Okay, sure. So, anyway, they don't go to 5,000. There's, like, if they said...
I don't know how they calculated to be up to 5,000.
Right, and a lot of IQ tests are, like, scientists now say that they're ridiculous. They don't make any sense because a lot of them are skewed by your age. So if like say a 2.5-year-old scores as well as a 25-year-old is expected to, they are, according to the IQ test, 10 times smarter than the 25-year-old at their average intelligence age, which all of a sudden would give them like a screwed up IQ score of like 1,000, which doesn't, obviously I exaggerate, most 2.5-year-olds are probably not going to outperform a 25-year-old, but if it did in the IQ test, they would get a ludicrous, stupid score, and it's just showing, no, this doesn't make sense.
The IQ test was really only designed to help place people in certain categories.
Which it doesn't really do that good of a job.
And right now, I think they're actually looking to completely change the IQ test and either get rid of it completely or find something else to measure.
Yeah, so I thought it was like totally bogus. Like, this is typical Pokemon Pokedex entry thing, though.
Like, what's a outrageous number that we can give that'll make it
say,
sound
like, how
really
do you
smart?
measure how smart someone is? In IQ, you say, all right, what is Albert Einstein? Is he like 230? Let's call Alakazam 5,000. Right, like, that means anything anymore.
Right. Well, actually, they did say Albert Einstein would range around like 160 or so, I think is what I was reading.
Which is about as high as it gets, right? They don't go over that. There's a reason. It's because, like, it's, okay, here. The only way to score better is to answer the problems correctly faster. If you think about it, there's no way, so let's say 200 is their max, and you're multiplying this, just 5 times faster than the smartest person ever to get a score of 1,000, okay? So that means the instant this thing pops up, say you're doing this on a computer, the instant the problem pops up, you clicked on the correct one. Even if you're wildly guessing and you did it a million times until you got the perfect score out of 1,000, you like clicked this one, and you busted through all of them until it said, you're a genius, your IQ is 1,000. How do you get it to 5,000? Even if you guessed randomly, or if you knew what they were going in, you knew, like, okay, I gotta click on A, C, C, B.
But it changes every time. That's the thing. You don't retake the same exact IQ test every single time.
I know, but even if someone fluke got all of them right, if Alakazam's psychic powers lets him know what the answer will be before it pops up, and he's not, like, problem solving, he's actually just breaking the test. Maybe that's it.
I guess. I actually wasn't as interested in this Pokedex
the IQ
entry.
No, I kind of wanted to, like, drain this out.
Other ones.
There's some interesting other stuff coming later, but I wanted to, like, shelve the IQ thing because that's a big thing that people talk about with him. And IQ tests are complete nonsense. You could make one that goes up to 5,000, and if you did, humans, we'd probably be scoring somewhere around, like, 4,500. So that doesn't mean anything at all. So just wanted to make sure we shelved that one. So let's just go to yellow, because pretty much all of these are interesting in their own way.
Oh, really? I don't have I thought we weren't even talking about the supercomputer part of red and blue yet.
Yeah, I know. But I'll get back to that one. That one's super weird. But anyway, in yellow, a Pokemon that can memorize anything. It never forgets what it learns. That's why this Pokemon is smart. Which... holy crap.
That has nothing to do with intelligence.
Nothing to do with intelligence. Like I just said about the IQ, we measure problem-solving skills and things that inherently show that one person is more capable of, I don't know, doing tougher jobs than another.
All this is saying is that it just memorizes things and spits them back out at you. That has nothing to do with intelligence.
That's like saying that my 6 terabyte hard drive is smart.
Right.
Because it's holding a lot of information. No! Well, that has nothing to do with that! No! And besides, if memory had anything to do with intelligence, I'm a complete idiot. I probably am anyway, but I forget, like, everything. That's why I forgot to make...
seen this firsthand.
That's why I forgot to make the Alakazam episode. Yeah, anybody who watches my series know that I'll stroll right past stuff.
I want to jump ahead a little bit to actually the Silver Dex. That's what I really focus a lot of my research on.
Let's not forget that he was smarter than a supercomputer. We'll get back to that.
We will get back to that one.
So in Silver, its brain cells multiply continually until it dies. As a result, it remembers everything.
You're not special, Alakazam.
Right. Everybody does that.
It was originally believed that our brain cells did not reproduce, or did not
reproduce
multiply.
Is not the right word.
It did not, continuously replicate. For a long time, we believed that the human brain stopped replicating, creating new brain cells at like 25 for the longest time. But, new research, we found out like the hippocampus does it continuously. And so does the, I think it was just the central cortex. That just continuously redoes itself too.
If it's not, think about it, if it's not continuously growing and evolving, you're stuck at that level.
Right.
So it's like if you want to bring it back to a computer, that's like if you're running the very first version of Windows and you are not allowed to update it. Eventually, through the lifespan of that computer, other things that do evolve are going, or get updates, right, or running Windows 10, they're going to greatly outperform that measly thing. So it's like being stuck as an infant. If your brain didn't do this, you would be born and trapped as a baby that couldn't learn a thing.
Well, and then another thing as well is the natural life of a cell is for it to die off and be grown again. But according to this, it thinks that Alakazam's brain can continuously grow.
They stay there for
and it stays there forever, which would actually begin to slow it down and make it stupider, actually.
Exactly. And another thing I wanted to point out, the slowing him down thing, if we jump back a little bit to the supercomputer thing, this is one quick thing of trying to compare a brain to a computer.
It's a huge mess.
But one thing, just we're talking about speed here. Do you know how much faster information can travel on gold wires or circuitry versus neurons? I don't have the exact number down because people argue about how exactly fast it is, but it is substantial. Computers are insanely faster. That's the thing. Faster than the brain. The brain uses significantly less electricity, which is amazing. But no, the computer is extremely fast.
And I have a quote for that, but I think we should get back to that after we finish talking about
just
why his brain continuously grows.
Right.
I focused on this so much.
Ruby.
Okay.
Alakazam's brain continually grows, making its head far too heavy to support with its neck. This Pokemon holds its head up using psychokinetic power instead.
All right. Alakazam, there are so many things.
Even better. Sapphire, Alakazam's brain continually grows, infinitely multiplying brain cells. It said infinite right there. This amazing brain gives this Pokemon an astoundingly high IQ of 5,000. It has a thorough memory of everything that has occurred in the world.
So, do any of you know what the largest brain is? For mammals.
For mammals, would you count a whale? One of the largest whales?
Yes, so the largest brain is actually in the sperm whale.
I should have guessed. I was going to say sperm whale, too, because this thing's terrifying.
But the largest brain in... Okay, so I have to try to explain this, because, in TV shows where you see, these kids have these huge heads, so they gotta be smarter. That actually does apply to humans. If you're comparing a human to a human, if one has a larger brain, then typically it's going to be more intelligent. But you can't compare cross species.
Yeah, that doesn't really... just because the whale's brain's bigger. Okay, here. So, the whale would have slower reaction time. Like I said, how long it takes for information to travel from the neurons. Say if something bites its tail, it's going to take it a little longer for it to realize something bit my tail.
Well, it doesn't even have to deal with that. The whale's intelligence is still significantly lower than the human's because the whale's brain is made for echolocation and sensing different sounds. So that's why it is significantly larger, is because it's using that cortex to use it for echolocation and things like that. It's not just focusing on multiple individual things like the human brain is.
Alakazam does not need a large brain to be intelligent. And he's... Okay, the worst part, if he's that smart, why does he never use his intelligence at all? Why doesn't he look at, our modern technology and say, you guys are doing it all wrong? Or, this is the way that quantum mechanics works. This is how you can teleport things. Just because he'd be able to understand it based on the level that we don't understand it. that would be apparent to him, but he's not helping. All he's doing is looking at his spoon and going, Alakazam.
Well, I told you, it's because his head's so big, he can't process things very quickly at all. And because as he's aging, he's getting more brain cells, which actually causes them to die off, quicker, and then they would get larger. And the thing is, if his brain's continuously growing, then your skull's never going to be able to compensate for that. And eventually...
Well, they do say that older Alakazams... I thought I read another one where the older ones have really large heads.
Well, yeah, they're saying that, but that would mean that their head was that large from Abra.
What?
So, when it comes to humans, our brain and skull stop growing, I think, in size.
It's its own species,
around, age 3, I think, the size, and then eventually we grow into that.
Okay.
So, that would mean... that, our physical skull isn't still growing. It can't physically get larger because it is a bone.
Yeah, but his could. He's not a human. They're in a group of human-like, but they're not people. They go in Pokeballs. They are my slaves. No. He can only, if he's so smart, why can he only learn 4 moves? Answer that one for me. He can remember everything, but he has to forget about teleport every time he's like, Alakazam wants to learn the move Psychic. Wow, cool. Alakazam must forget a move. Should he forget Flash, Confusion, Psywave, or Teleport? Well, crap, you...
Well, that's part of one of those brain cells that got, gunked up by one of the other ones on top of it. It can't remember that one now.
He forgets... That's a joke, too. He rememers everything.
Or maybe
except you have to go to the move deleter. You can go to the move deleter.
That's what I said. Maybe it's part of when you go to the move deleter, he gets, his hard drive formatted.
Alright, how about we get to that supercomputer nonsense? Because there's a couple others that mention this, in Pearl, its highly developed brain is on par with a supercomputer.
Yes,
so there's other ones where they start backing off. They said before he outperforms it. And, it could be because computers, think about it, 1996. That was when they wrote the first one.
Yeah.
A supercomputer in 1996 is, as intelligent as the singing birthday cards you get at Walmart.
Right.
They were not a big deal. The computers, were just as intelligent as, the first rockets we were sending into space, and now we can fit them in our cell phone.
That's what I was really considering when I was looking into this, is how smart...
Yeah, what do you call smart?
Okay, how fast the supercomputers were in 1996, which I never found an actual number.
Speed, Alakazam has to lose. Unless he is steel type or something, and he is hardwired with gold wires.
Here, let me start this off.
He will not outspeed it.
Let me start this off with a quote that I have.
Sure.
Okay, this is from ScienceABC.com.
Mm-hmm.
The brain is both hardware and software, whereas it is inherent different in computers. The same interconnected areas linked by billions of neurons and perhaps trillions of glial cells can perceive, interpret, store, analyze, and redistribute at the same time. Computers, by their very definition, had fundamental design, have some parts for processing and others for memory. The brain doesn't make that separation, which makes it hugely efficient.
That's true, and there's also a lot of things if you're comparing the two. Say if you gave, based on the test that you compare the human and the computer, if you give them both a math test, the computer will be done in 0.2 nanoseconds.
Right.
The human can't even guess that fast, right? But if you're doing picture-based problem solving,
that's different.
You know how they have prove you're not a robot stuff online? They say, can you read the sign in this picture? Or what does it look like in this scene? And you have to describe it. That a computer has a very hard time doing. And that's different. That's what judges IQ. That kind of stuff.
Right.
But if your computer could start doing that, then we're looking at a whole different range of this. But they don't at this point.
Right.
They don't.
It's like
you can program it.
I've gone back to this before, but it's like in Metal Gear Peace Walker where you had to have 2 different brains to even comprehend to have it work properly.
Yeah, well, you had a reptile brain for just movement, and then a mammal brain for thinking and processing.
Right, so you essentially have one that's for your hippocampus, and your other one's for your central cortex.
Right. The computer doesn't need to move to answer those questions, though, so you would just have the mammal brain, but even programming a mammal brain, we still can't really do this.
Right.
Even the movement brain, like what we talked about in the Giant Mechs episode of Do You Physics, you can't even get that kind of intelligence in something to get it to walk, because walking requires so much balance and understanding of how you need to move so many muscles to not fall over. That's really hard.
Yeah.
Most little walking toys that you see are either like bottom heavy or quadrupeds, because they're like, that's why they stick with dogs, because it's so easy. There's always like 3 legs touching the ground at once, so the darn thing doesn't keep falling over and looks like a piece of junk. It's hard. So I mean, I get it, like he outperforms the supercomputer, but normal brains do. So we were considering
normal brains outperform
we were thinking of throwing this guy into our upcoming episode of You're Not Special. But the thing is, there is a lot of stuff that a computer does outperform a human on. I would say in information storage, by far, computers can store significantly more.
Well, our problem is we can store it, we just can't always retrieve it.
Computers can always fetch the same information back to you.
Yes. Now that does get into another topic of where our brain will change and shift memories while it's recalling versus the computer that will give you the exact thing that happened last
Things like
time.
JPEGs, though, will degenerate over time.
They will degenerate,
but not like a human memory. Have you seen videos where people, they'll have, or how about this, even better, some magician acts where they'll have somebody working at like a counter, and they drop their pencil behind there after talking with a person who's about to be fooled for a while, and they drop their pencil, they bend down to get it, and a different person wearing completely different clothes stands up with the pencil and carries on the conversation, and the person totally doesn't realize it because their brain immediately was fooled into thinking that was the same thing.
Right.
A computer, okay, you would think. I mean, because we were just saying, like, recognition of imagery, the computer would have the same issue. But
recognition of imagery, I think of Pokemon and me.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Make a smiley face, Metagross, or whatever it is. But, yeah, so humans have a serious problem with that. But there's also the speed at which it can process information. And as we mentioned before, computers are way faster than... I
actually have another quote for that one as well about the speed one. But it's matching the processing power. So this is also from Science ABC. In 2014, some clever researchers in Japan tried to match the processing power in 1 second from 1% of the brain. That doesn't sound like very much, and yet it took the 4th fastest supercomputer in the world, the K computer, 40 minutes to crunch the calculations for a single second of brain activity.
Wow. Which, you know what's so impressive about that is if you looked at the big discrepancy between the brain and the computers that I was looking up was the power required. The brain needs like, man, the fraction was like 100th, not even 100th of what a computer needs to do the same thing. The computer's doing it way faster and can store way more information, but the brain does it on significantly less energy. So that's like the only thing I can give Alakazam. If he has a bigger brain, he can do more with less energy.
Yeah, but a
computer of the same size will completely outperform
But I'm saying if his brain is so large, then he is so gummed up, he can't remember or do things.
Right. Do you know what happens to old humans when...
Yes!
Like, this happens to everything. It will happen to Alakazam. But no, Pokemon Moon. The brain cells continue to increase in number until its death. The older the Alakazam, the larger its head.
But see, that's the thing. I was like, well, when it reaches that largest head, it's probably dying.
Well, of course it's dying, but it's just like the strongest... Have I told you the story of the strongest Alakazam I've ever seen?
No.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so, fun little side tangent about Alakazam. I love this story. So, I was playing the original game, Pokemon Blue, I think it was. And if you may or may not know, there's this hilarious glitch involving the shore of the east side of Cinnabar Island. if you, like, talk to some character in the beginning of the game and fly right there and then start surfing on that island, glitchy, weird stuff appears. This is where Missing No comes from, is where you can find it here. But also random Pokemon of random levels, and sometimes even trainers can appear there. My favorite thing I ever found there, and this is obviously not hacking or cheating in the game at all, this just happens. My favorite thing I ever found there was a level 259 Alakazam.
What? How?
I don't know. His head was so big. But no, I caught him. Because now here, I typically in those games catch an Abra on my team and I name him Spanky. I don't know why, I just like naming him Spanky. So this special Alakazam, I found out if you fight with him anywhere, use one single attack, it will kill the Pokemon, obviously he's fighting, but that little bit of experience causes him to level up to level 100, so he drops way down. So he's only good for one attack. So because of that, I named him the Spank. One good walloping. His special attack was like 700. It was ridiculous. So yeah, you give him like a Psychic or whatever his strongest move at the time was, and just like BAM! Wait for Lance's Dragonite, and of course just annihilate it. But still, that's what I think of a super old Alakazam who.
So here's my sum up of Alakazam, is that if his brain cells are continuously growing, then that means they're not dying off, which means they're not rejuvenating, which means it's going to make him really kinds of stupid.
Yeah.
Because the natural life...
Well, here, unless the new cells he's making are new memory storage, because that's what they implied. And if that's the case, that's like...
But that means he still has to replicate that old cell again and then make another new cell on top of that.
But think about it, that's like a computer, you're adding more hard drives to it.
Okay.
That will slow it down, you're right, yeah.
Natural life of a cell... It has to die off.
Yes.
Cells do not live forever.
No.
So that's kind of my thing with Alakazam is he's not special.
No.
Because that means his brain's just doing what it should be doing anyway.
I thought going into this was going to be like ridiculous. Like there's no way anyone could ever possibly be this smart. But no, it's like... It's
actually...
He's just a normal person.
He's just a normal person. And his brain might be large, but because he's a different species, it might have nothing to do with his intelligence.
It's like we've totally, like, blown away. It's like magicians. Like, you like to think, like, suspend your disbelief and assume that they're these, like, incredibly smart people with weird powers and stuff. And the same thing with Alakazam. He probably doesn't even have superpowers. Or, you know, like, telekinesis stuff. He's just smart enough to know how to fool you and to make you think that he does, but he's just a normal... human intelligence.
Okay, yeah, so that's what I'm kind of getting at. I don't think his brain is actually growing larger, or if it is, his brain is definitely set up differently than ours, and he has
it really a larger... We have so many living creatures now that we can see how different brains can occur, and I'm sorry, he's not special enough.
Unfortunately, the human brain, I think, was the most efficient brain. But it's only like the second most efficient brain. There's actually one up above us.
Really?
I can't remember what it is, but I know porpoises come right after us. So,
okay.
I wish I could remember what the top one was.
What's the porpoise of that? You're gonna hit me. Oh, she got mad. Here, how about I lighten things by reading two of the dumbest Dex entries.
Are these the ones I didn't research that I love?
These are just flat out stupid. Like, if you thought the Pokedex before...
Oh, no. This one is my favorite Alakazam Dex entry. It's from Ultra Moon. I love it.
Like, okay, like, the Pokedex before was completely stupid, and then when they made Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, since they figured they were making the main game completely stupid, they figured, whatever. To heck with the Pokedex. Just write whatever you want. Ultra Sun. Alakazam uses its psychic powers to make the spoons it carries. Each spoon is an original that there's only one of in the world. Who cares? What does that mean? Even better.
Is it not physical material? I don't know.
I don't know. But even better if you want to talk about the spoons. Ultra Moon. If it trusts someone deeply, it will let them have one of its spoons. Anything you eat with that spoon is apparently delicious. So I can take this spoon, scoop up a big pile of Snorlax dung, and just go, mmm.
Now see, what I'm thinking here is they wrote this Dex hoping people would read it, and the placebo effect, because you have this spoon that is said to make anything taste delicious.
Because it says that, it makes...
You are under the impression that
See, now that's a feeble human brain trying to justify this otherworldly intelligent creature giving you a spoon. It's just messing with you. It just gave you a spoon.
It's just messing with you.
You know, maybe he just wanted you to wash his spoon because he ate too much ice cream. He ate all your Vanillites. Did you go back? Did you check your box? I think you're missing a Vanillux or Vanillish.
Or maybe, okay, who's the professor on this one? Maybe he just had something that was delicious with that spoon. It was like, oh, I gotta write this down.
I don't think the professors write this. I think it's the kids. I really think it's the 10-year-olds who were going out there on their Pokemon adventure and they're like, it gave me a spoon. I ate some Frosties with it and it was yummy. And that's Alakazam's Dex entry. We took an IQ test and I over-exaggerated my Pokemons with 2 zeros. Alakazam's probably supposed to be like a 50. And he's like, spoon.
Wait. Yeah,
I mean, hey, Slowpoke's psychic type. You don't have to be smart to be psychic type. I mean, Alakazam is stupid. He's just totally stupid.
I told you with all this brain matter he has, he's an idiot.
He can't even remember more than 4 moves. He's stupid.
Maybe it's just the advanced stages of Alzheimer's disease.
Alzheimer's?
At all times.
Maybe. I guess that's all it is. But, either way, was there anything else you wanted to talk about on Alakazam?
No, that is it. I just think Alakazam is an idiot.
I went through this like, okay, how do you score 5,000? Well, you make a custom IQ score to get 5,000. Okay, how do you get smarter than a supercomputer? All humans are smarter than supercomputers. Great! What does he have left? Spoons that he made himself that apparently make things tasty. Alright, good. He's an idiot.
He's the best chef in the world.
He's just an idiot.
He's just an idiot, guys.
Oh my god.
That's gonna be the tagline. Alakazam.
Alakazam.
Just an idiot.
Just an idiot. Oh my gosh. But anyway, that is all the time we have for you guys today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to join us next time for some more game science. Be sure to follow us either on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. And we will see you all in the next episode of Pokedex Paradox.
Bye-bye.